audience regularly. It's so wonderful. I wanted to make a fashion statement for you tonight. It's just so good to be home, and it feels like home, and that actually is somewhat the theme of what I would like to speak a little bit about. John Lang's, how do I start this? I talked to him, and he couldn't be here tonight, and he asked me if I could speak for him. And I said, that's so unfair. Because Hamlet's a role and a play, but a role that, if you're playing any other role, no one asks you to defend yourself. But if you're playing Hamlet, you have to, this is your thesis on acting and life. That is terrifying. Utterly terrifying. And now, could you please stand up in front of all your peers and tell them what Hamlet's about? That's terrifying. And I imagine that's a lot what Hamlet feels like much of the time. The first thing I heard from people along those lines was, did you read so-and-so's book on this moment or that moment? Did you know Burton did it this way? Are you going to watch all 5 hours of Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet? Are you going to see all those things? And I wanted to say to everyone, where were you when I was working on Bertram? Seriously. There's nothing for that. And to be honest with you, that's a much more difficult play. I find Hamlet to be surprisingly simple, and I think that's what's so compelling about the piece. John and I started talking about the play, and the first thing that the two of us really connected on was that, yes, it's a ghost story. Yes, there are politics. Yes, there's the stakes couldn't be higher. It's kings and queens. It's invading armies. It's lies, deceit. It's the dead speaking to your soul. But it's also, and primarily, number one, family. It's all about family. And if it's not rooted in family, and if these things aren't invading and dissecting and moving through family, these things are useless. They're nothing. We can't relate to them, really. But we've had these things happen to us in life. I'm just going to get a little raw with you on this, mostly because I don't know how to talk to you about the play. It's Hamlet. You've seen it. I've seen it. I saw Lee Ernst do it here. I saw Mark Corkins. I watched night after night Jimmy DeVito. I know this play in this space because I grew up watching it. This goes a little bit to home for me. So it's a big deal for me to be here, but it's also something that I feel like there's nothing I can really tell you about the play that you don't personally know something on the inside of you already, and how you bring that to the play. So we started talking about the play, and John said to me, I think it's about the relationship between Hamlet and his father. And I said, his dad's dead. He's hardly in the play. What do you mean? Where do we build that relationship? And he said, well, I see Hamlet as somewhat the poet that couldn't live up to his father's ideals, that they could never they had always missed the boat on being able to truly connect or to truly bond. And I thought, well, that's interesting, you know. I'm going to do what you'll do when you come to see a play. I'm going to bring myself to this. So I say to him, okay, well, let me look at my own, and this is where I get a little raw with you tonight. And I said, okay, I'll look at my own father figure situation. And it occurred to me, I told him this story about moving to Kenosha, Wisconsin as a young kid and trying out for Little League. And my father, at the time, was going to be the Little League third base coach, which meant for me I had an in. There was no way that I could be cut. Except I was really bad at baseball. And when I was cut, my father asked me if he could continue to coach. That was devastating. And then I began to excel at something. Shakespeare. I don't know why. It just was something I was natural at. It fit for me. It worked. And he didn't go to the plays. Long story short, my dad and I have long since separated. Why do I tell you this ugly, gross family story in front of you? Because that's what these plays are all about. That's why you come to see them. Because you related to that story that I just told you. One way or another. A present father is just as powerful as an absent father. And we see that in this play. Intensely in this play. But it isn't just that, it's also the other relationships in this family. This play's all about family. They echo throughout. Polonius and his kids, the beautiful speech that Polonius gives to his child as he sends him off into the world. What parent doesn't know that? That sort of leads me to this other question, is that, what is this play really about? I don't know, but I know that there's a big question that's always asked is it about madness? Is Hamlet mad? Is he crazy? Well, I could say to you that you probably have been very close to madness many times in your life. You look at this play, and it's easy for us to separate ourselves from the character because it's so many hundreds of years old, and he's a prince or something like that. But I try to think about this, and in my own life, I have been brought to madness. I have thought hateful thoughts. I have done deeds that I regret and am ashamed about. I have feared for my life in different times. And I challenge you to think of a moment that you had that experience. Where's my kid? I'm at Walmart. Boom, you are that close to madness. We see it in the news all the time. Somebody devoutly religious takes the step further and does something crazy. It's amazing to me that in this day and age, we continue to deal with things like poverty and violence and sexism. That's somewhat insane. We could probably work those things out. But that's what speaks to us from these plays. All of them, not just Hamlet. And I think that what is to me, and to John, and let me say this real quick. As far as family goes, I feel so lucky with this cast and with this crew. This is unbelievable. People keep asking me, are you ready? And I'm like, I kind of don't have to be. Deb Staples is in the play. Jimmy DeVita is playing it. You know what I mean? Christine, oh my God, where is she? She's here. I haven't seen her. I haven't even seen her since I've been here, so I don't know. But the whole cast is an incredible group of people. And the exciting part is we get to do something really thrilling. We get to do it in tandem with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, with probably one of my all-time favorite directors and yet the same cast coming up later. And just a small side note that I had to share this little story. I remember I played Rosencrantz here, or understudied Rosencrantz here. And then many years later, played Rosencrantz at Chicago Shakespeare. And I'd completely forgotten that I understudied the role. And I understudied both Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. So when I came to rehearse, start memorizing my lines at Chicago Shakespeare, I was like, I'm going to learn. I knew them. And I was like, I'm a Shakespeare genius! No. I guess that's where I relate to Hamlet a lot. He has these flights of fancy where he sees potential and possibility and capability, and then is reminded that he's just human. He's just like everybody else. And I'll hurry up. Last thing I'll say is this. Is that I think the reason we're drawn to the play Hamlet is because it is an illustration of what we do as artists and as human beings. As artists, you see tonight, you're going to see all of these wonderful presentations, these amazing designs, incredible work done by so many people. What this is a challenge set before you, and everything in your life leading up to this moment. Personal experiences, education, failures, missed opportunities, regrets, hopes, dreams, and then all of a sudden that challenge is right in front of you, and you have a choice. You can do it or not. But that deadline's coming. It's coming. And you'll do it. You'll just have to do it. So, whether you like it or not, we're going to do Hamlet. So.